Oh my gosh, you gave me a birthday present. That's a month and a half late. Okay, so we're at the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show. This is not a normal shoot because I don't have a gray box, and there's a gentleman sitting to my right, Mr. Dalan Hargrave, and he is gonna come on and talk to us all about gemstones. You like gemstones, right? I'm gonna unbox this very un-gray box. It's very beige. Holy, wow, that's really pretty. I am guessing that cut is what we're gonna be talking about today. This piece kind of knocked the words right out of my mouth, but that's okay because I have someone who is even more knowledgeable and a fantastic expert guest to talk about stone cutting and this fantastic business, and I am just gonna shut up and bring him on in. Have you ever been on YouTube before?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, darn it. I was hoping to be your first time. Because this is certainly my first time seeing something this fantastic. I can tell you a million things about why this knocked the words right out of my mouth, but I'm sure you're going to be able to tell me quite a bit more about what makes this piece so significant. Can I wear it?
Yes, you can
Really?
wear it. Yeah,
Okay.
let's put it on right now.
So you are known for your cutting.
Yes.
And I've admired your cutting for many years.
Thank
Tell
you.
me a little bit about this piece. Tell me about gemstone cutting.
So what you're looking at to start with is sunstone.
Okay.
That comes from the southeastern Oregon desert. That particular piece come from the Dust Devil Sunstone mine. The color is a nice red color, and you can see, if you catch the angle just the right way, a little sliver of something shiny inside the stone.
Yeah, I noticed that. But what really caught my attention was the cut. This is not a normal cut by any means. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this.
Well, that's because I'm not normal.
That's a good thing, right? It's always fun in business. Where did you learn to cut like this? Because what I know just a little bit about cutting, this is a tough business to be in.
It's not easy. I built a lot of my own equipment to be able to do these kind of cuts. And the beauty of doing these kind of cuts, I use the same critical angle. You don't change the physics of a gemstone.
Okay.
But I use that same critical angle in shallow stones to give it a little bit of brilliance. Things like a garnet that would typically be a little bit too dark in a really big stone, it wouldn't face up nice and bright. I can take things like this sunstone, which is also quite dark, and do a cutting to it, and you can look at the stone from the side, and you can see how relatively thin the piece is.
I noticed that. And I like how the back right here, so
Yes.
you're seeing the color of the stone and not the color of my shirt.
The back is highly polished. That's a platinum piece.
Okay.
Set with diamonds, and behind the sunstone itself, it's actually 24 karat gold plated so that you get reflection off of the gold and it enhances the color of the sunstone.
Okay, so you mentioned the physics of gemstone cutting.
Yes.
Can we do, I've never talked about that in the show. Can we do a quick 20-second lesson about the physics of gemstone cutting?
Sure.
Because that's super cool.
In a nutshell, what you're looking at always is the bling factor of any
like that.
gemstone.
What was that?
It's the bling factor.
The bling factor.
Bling factor.
I'm gonna do that again.
It's when light goes in and bounces across and comes right back at you.
Okay.
So any light in the room, or wherever you can get light from, is going into the gemstone. It's bouncing back at you. And that's the brilliance of a gemstone. Each gemstone has an ability to bend that light a certain way. But knowing that, you can put those cuts wherever you want them. And in this case, I do what I call an American brilliant style, where it's not your typical culet that all comes down to a point.
Okay, do a quick definition for a culet.
Okay, the culet is the bottom of the stone.
Okay.
Light comes in, bounces across. That's like the satellite reflector that catches the light.
What a great way.
So that's catching the light and bouncing it back at you. On the little cuts that I do, I have multiple ones of those. But I add the added element of a little bit of patterning and design to the cutting itself to make it a little bit more complicated.
So how did you learn how to do all of this? Because this is not something you just go out and try and get it right the first time. That's tough stuff to figure out the physics of a gemstone.
It just kind of came to me one day.
That's so cool. That's so neat.
The city that I live in, a little small city, they had a piece of property that flooded. The city got the property, was going to make a park out of it. This is Bulverde, Texas. So I went up there to do my civic duty and clean what used to be the dump to this little house that got flooded out. And in the process, I found this broken piece of crystal vase that had all the fancy little cuts like your grandmother's vase would have.
I love those, yeah.
And I thought, I can take that home, and with the lapidary equipment that I've got, I can shape it into something any grandmother would love. And then I thought, well, if I'm gonna do that, I might as well just start doing that to gemstones. So I started carefully designing and building equipment that would give me the ability to index these cuts.
Can you give me like maybe your top 3 facts that we should know about this piece?
The first thing to notice about that stone is the color.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the top of the line color for sunstone that comes from the Dust Devil Sunstone Mine.
Tell us where that is.
That's in southeastern Oregon.
Have you been there?
Yes,
Cool.
plenty of times. I've dug into the dirt, and that's actually a stone that I dug up.
I would like to say wow a few more times, and I
Okay.
have utter and complete faith that you have something in those boxes that will make me do that.
I hope so.
Okay, should I close my eyes and open it? Should I just open the box?
No, you'll close your eyes when it comes to this.
You ready? Whoa! Wow! You know what these look like? Lace. They look so delicate. It looks
Beautiful,
like they're
isn't it?
beautiful. It looks like lace.
Not that I did the cutting or anything, but it's that it's that repetitious pattern that the human eye gravitates towards.
Yeah, and then
There's a reason why they did that in all the beautiful crystal vases and things. It's because it's optically very appealing.
okay, so folks, the first thing I noticed with this piece was the color. And that is, sunstone is known for color, but you know
Yes.
the 4 C's.
Color, cut, clarity.
Yeah, but in gemstones, I thought it was color.
Color.
Yeah.
Color.
All color.
Color.
6 colors.
Color.
All the colors. This piece right here, it has these very, very small, delicate, well-placed facets. I wish you all could touch this. I mean, on the back, it's so... How did you do this?
I built equipment that I knew would make the cuts. I did not invent the technique because that came from the glass industry back in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Wow.
And became known as the American Brilliant pattern. So I call this the American Brilliant pattern out of tribute to the glass industry because that's where the patterning came from.
How did you get these?
But on this, I built my own equipment to be able to do those patterns, and specifically on the concentric circle patterns. That was totally new. That's not something that you saw even in the crystal vases. I have as much fun building the equipment to do these cuts as I do actually doing the cutting
So you
itself.
really, 40 hours a week, you enjoy every second of it.
Yeah, I'm a tool freak. I like tools and I like being able to push gemstone design beyond where it's been before.
How did you get into making your own equipment?
Out of necessity. I have a lot of credit that I give to my parents. My dad was an electronic specialist for the government for a long time, so I get a lot of mechanical ability from him.
Okay.
And my mother's enduring patience. Figuring out the tooling and everything to be able to accomplish the cuts was a little bit challenging because I'm not a machinist by any means. But I could very clearly visualize the geometric patterns and what would make those cuts. So building the equipment was a whole nother curve to try to come up with the equipment that would do the cuts in gemstones. I think the human eye is naturally attracted to a repetitious pattern because you see that in nature. You see the fractals and sacred geometry, then the basic physics, the basic lapidary techniques apply here. I have different equipment that I build to be able to accomplish the cuts, but the basics are all pretty much straightforward.
So do you consider yourself more of a lapidary, an artist, or how would you define your profession and your calling?
I've been a goldsmith and lapidary for 43 years, but in the process of my career, I spent the first half of it, I would say, focusing on the jewelry aspect of it. I've always known a little bit of stone cutting, but I came to Tucson for my first experience in 1998, and it literally changed my life.
So when you're looking at a piece of rough, are you thinking about maximizing the rough, or are you thinking only about the design and how you can do the best justice?
Yeah, for me, it's a balancing act. The first thing is when you're talking about rough like sunstone, it can get quite costly for the nice quality. You want to maximize the rough, but on the other hand, you don't want to just do some strange cut just so that you can brag about having the heaviest stone that you could possibly get. When you start learning how to cut gemstones, you have to study the refractive index of each gemstone. There's suggested critical angles.
Do you want to give a quick definition for our viewers who may not be familiar with cutting, what a critical angle is?
If you look into a little pond of water, if you're at a steep enough angle, you can look all the way down through the surface of the water down to what's underneath. If you look at a sharp angle to the water, you catch a reflection off of that, such as looking across a lake, seeing a reflection of the trees that surround the perimeter. Same thing is happening inside of a gemstone. The light goes into the top. Those bottom angles on the pavilion, that's the bottom of the stone, have to be at a certain angle to be able to catch that light and reflect it back at you. If they're too shallow, you see all the way through it like you would seeing through the bottom of the pond. If they're too steep, sometimes you can get light that bounces across but then goes out the opposite side, and that's called extinction. Those stones face up a little bit dark. You want to do the next box?
Yeah, I'm like almost nervous that I'm just gonna be blown away again.
Okay, but you can't look. Close your eyes.
Okay, I'm gonna move these out of the way so they're safe.
Okay, and stick there's one hand, and I'm gonna point you.
Okay, that's a stone.
Just okay, pick that one up first, and don't look at the rest. Okay, that's a piece of rough sunstone. You can see a little trace of the schiller inside the stone.
Tell us what schiller is.
Schiller is the little tiny droplets of copper that reflect light.
Do y'all see that?
Yes. The schiller forms in little planes, and sometimes in one layer or another, or several layers, it could have these little tiny droplets of copper. So there's another piece in here. There's two more pieces.
Two more
actually.
pieces.
Yes.
Okay, do I have to close my eyes again?
Close your eyes again, and I'll show you which one. Look at that one. That's another piece of rough.
It's kind of tumbled almost, smooth.
That one's been smoothed around the outside so that I can see inside the stone a little bit and see what I'm looking at. The unusual thing about that one is two aspects. It goes back to the seas again. Color. It's a great color for sunstone. Color. And this, if you notice,
look at all that. Oh my gosh.
It's a very unusual piece of sunstone in that the schiller usually forms in one particular direction.
Yeah,
and
no,
that
that's not
piece,
happening here.
it forms three different directions.
These two pieces, what do you want to carve?
On this piece, you can see schiller that comes through here on an angle.
That's beautiful.
And being a transparent piece like this, I think I'll probably carve a little internal city up inside
Wait,
here.
you can do that?
Yes. I do what I call the celestial cities. I create these little futuristic looking cities inside the gemstones.
That's so cool.
And hopefully the goal is to stimulate somebody's thought process into what might exist out there.
Have you ever thought about publishing a book?
Yes. And there's a handful of my pictures in the Cis book.
Which we've talked about plenty of times here on the show. And that's where I fell in love with your carving, was through the Cis.
So one more stone. Okay. Yeah, you won't be able to miss that one.
Another piece of rough?
Yes.
Holy moly, that's got a lot in there.
Yes, it does, and it's big too.
I did not expect to see that much in there. I mean, it literally looks like a sheet, like you painted it with glitter, and I know you didn't do that.
No, I didn't do that. That one has a lot of schiller.
I'm blown away that we can get from this to this.
Now that's about as nice a rough as it comes. There is nothing like seeing it for the first time in the bright sunlight. There's not a lot of bad. The first thing I'll do is I'll go back to the shop and I'll start removing what you can see as surface
So this stuff
inclusions.
right here.
When this forms, it'll form in the host rock. So some of that's still stuck to the rock. I'll shape and get rid of some of that. That's why this piece looks smooth. What I've done is I've shaped this one. So I told you that I've been a goldsmith for 43 years.
Yeah.
I can set all of these pieces in something myself.
Okay.
However, what I really get a kick out of these days is seeing what some of the younger jewelers would design around the gemstones.
Do we have another guest?
So today I brought with me, he's a young man, 22 years old. However, this young man, and I can tell you, just like a concert pianist can hear somebody play for the first time and know whether they got it or don't got it, and this kid's got it.
Really? And that
is his name
coming from an expert to say that,
Yeah, his name's Everett, and 3 of the gemstones that he set are ones that I've cut. So what you're going to be seeing is some more of my cutting in a little bit different style. One of them actually placed in the Spectrum competition this year. So Everett has a few pieces that I'm going to let him show because he did such a phenomenal job of mounting these stones that he can give you a little bit more expertise in what he put into them.
Is this your first time on YouTube?
Yeah, it is. And it was a surprise for me as well today too.
Yeah, are you excited?
Yeah.
You are a jeweler. what do you call yourself? I think that's always important to see where people...
I'm a student.
You're a student.
I'm always a student.
Student of life?
Yeah, student of life, student of masterful teachers, and also just of, constantly learning from myself and from the materials I get to work with. As a jeweler, I've been making jewelry for about 3.5 years.
Awesome. So I'm gonna let you be the host right now.
Oh, wow.
And I'm gonna let you tell me what you want to talk about, and I'm gonna let you pick a piece for me.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I'm gonna close my eyes.
All right.
I want you to pick something, and I want you to put it in my hand.
All right, I'll pull it out.
I'm trying not to peek. I'm gonna look this way.
So this is a pendant I made with a tourmaline. I guess these are all tourmalines, but this is
Ready?
stone that Dalan
Yes.
cut.
You can look.
Whoa.
With this piece, I just really wanted to accent the stone, and so I kind of left it in that free-floating space with the negative space behind it, and then
Whoa.
framed it with a combination of white gold and rose gold. When you're working with such an exceptional stone, you want it to complement and not take away from that stone and do something that adds to it. And so I started with the design. I feel like I think in a very architectural manner.
I can see that,
And
yeah.
so when I'm building a piece, I'm almost creating like a temple for the stone to sit in, you know, something
That's beautiful.
that accents the stone but also creates this kind of significance around it. And this piece
Is this the box that this came out of?
It is,
Okay,
yeah.
I want to hold this up to the camera so you all can see his name. I have a feeling that will be a name that we are going to want to know.
You're going to see it.
I sure hope so.
Frequently.
Yeah, for sure. This is spectacular. And the cut, it almost looks like,
Like dancing waves almost.
yeah,
or-
waves
Yes.
or fish scales. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yes, this is compound concave.
Tell me concave and then tell me compound concave.
Concave is a curved surface rather than a flat surface. A curved surface has the ability to pick up light from a broad range rather than a flat surface picking up light from a straight on. Compound concave curves in two different directions.
So for the
Box
next
number
piece,
2, mister.
This is a matching piece. So this was a set. So this is inspired by a similar design.
You are both artists. How long
Yes.
does it take from start to finish?
You know, when you're such a committed artist, you're literally spending night and day thinking about design. That's only one aspect of it. Once you come up with a design, then you've got the beginning stages. In his case, if he's going to fabricate, he's got to roll out the metal, he's got to shape it, get the stock that he needs. When it comes time to actually build it and construct it, then you have to put a lot of effort into shaping it just right, making sure each piece fits perfectly before you join them together to make the composite. So a piece with a lot of intricacy like that, it could end up taking weeks.
I am out of questions for the moment.
Okay, then it's time to open another box.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay, this is the best episode ever.
Go ahead and open it. And earlier Dalan was talking about the Spectrum Awards, and the center stone in this piece took second place in this last year's Spectrum Awards.
Wow. Wow,
Isn't that a wow piece?
That's a wow piece.
that's really beautiful.
And I'm not talking down about him being young, but at 22 to have that level of skill, just imagine adding another 40 years of experience to that, where this kid could go.
There is not an inch of this that has not been thought out and designed. Y'all kept hitting me with one big stone after another. I mean, this should be 2 episodes. This is spectacular.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is made in 18 karat gold and platinum,
Okay.
and it's all done by hand. I don't use any CAD or computer
Nice.
work. It's all hand fabricated
Fantastic.
and lost wax casting.
So this is the part where I'm supposed to take a closer look at one piece, but I've often heard that parents don't have a favorite child, and I don't think I have a favorite box this episode. So I want you all to take a closer look at the lace design. Can I call it lace design?
Yes.
Is that okay with you?
Sure.
I think when I first saw this piece, I thought it looked like lace. So take a look at the back of that. That's all of the back of the stone. That is a cut that we are so lucky to have on the show today. So take a closer look at the design, the intricate details, and the color. We're gonna take another closer look at the necklace I'm not taking off. Every inch of this piece is well thought out, it is well made, and it is truly a work of art. So I kind of lost my ability to speak. You know, I was so wowed out. But you guys, having you on this show, talking about the craftsmanship and the stones and the business, you know, one of the reasons I love coming to Tucson is because it kind of, you know, reignites my passion for the business. And it's having experts and masters like both of you that makes that possible. So thank you. Any advice to those watching that are not in the business, want to be in the business, or hobbyists?
Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Only person who gets in trouble for thinking outside the box in my house is the cat.
All right, episode stops there. Episode stops there. Like and subscribe. I can't say anything else to top that. Thank you so so much.